The NFL draft always generates significant anticipation, and this year's event was no exception. With a host of compelling storylines, there was no shortage of drama and surprises. The first round unfolded with teams making moves, some bold and calculated, others more cautious. Amid the excitement, certain names emerged as clear winners, while others found themselves grappling with unexpected setbacks. As the dust settled, one name stood out in particular, not for the typical reasons, but because of a fascinating combination of factors that led to his fall: Shadar Sanders. For some, the biggest winner of the draft was the Jacksonville Jaguars, who made a powerful statement by selecting Travis Hunter, a player widely regarded as a unicorn. Hunter is the type of versatile talent that can change the dynamics of a football team. By securing him, the Jaguars addressed their need for an all-around player who can impact the game on both sides of the ball. This move reflects a broader trend in the NFL. Teams are increasingly looking for players capable of wearing multiple hats, and Hunter's ability to be a game changer is exactly what Jacksonville needed to further solidify their aspirations of rebuilding a championship-caliber roster. The addition of Hunter sends a clear message that the Jaguars are serious about cultivating a culture of excellence, and with players like him, their future looks bright. Meanwhile, the New York Giants earned praise for their meticulous draft strategy. Their ability to identify talent and maneuver within the draft was exemplary. The Giants made a splash by landing Abdul Carter, the third overall pick, who was a top-rated player on many boards. However, it wasn't just about the big move. It was the tactical brilliance behind it. Instead of overpaying or giving up too much, the Giants managed to move up to secure Carter without sacrificing the farm. Their shrewdness paid off in spades, particularly with their selection of Jackson Dart as their future quarterback. By staying patient and playing their cards right, the Giants demonstrated the importance of not just looking at immediate needs, but also securing long-term solutions that will keep them competitive for years to come. However, not every team was basking in the glow of success. In the realm of losers, the attention inevitably turned to Russell Wilson. Once considered one of the top quarterbacks in the league, Wilson now finds himself in a less-than-ideal position after the draft. The Denver Broncos, having selected a quarterback behind him, have created a scenario that could potentially jeopardize Wilson's future with the team. The writing on the wall suggests that Denver may be looking to move on sooner than expected, leaving Wilson to wrestle with the uncertain future of his once promising career. Another player whose draft experience fell far short of expectations was Shadar Sanders. The talented quarterback, who had previously been heralded as a potential first-round pick, saw his draft stock slide in a way that many could not have predicted. Sanders, known for his impressive college career, fell out of the first round entirely. Despite his strong showing on the field, questions about his elite traits, most notably his arm strength and mobility, led to doubts about his readiness for the NFL. The evaluation of Sanders was shaped not just by his performance, but also by the context of this particular draft class. This year, the quarterback pool was not as deep or star-studded as in previous years, and Sanders, despite his solid college numbers, was viewed as lacking the wow factor that typically propels players into the top rounds. Even Sanders himself seemed to understand the reality of his situation when he took to Instagram following the draft. His message was one of resilience, acknowledging that despite the disappointment of not being selected in the first round, he believed that everything happens for a reason. His faith and perspective were admirable, but the sting of watching other quarterbacks get drafted ahead of him, especially when expectations were so high, was palpable. The decision to pass on Sanders raised questions about the way NFL teams evaluate quarterbacks. While some analysts had anticipated that Sanders would be a perfect fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team's decision to select other players instead highlighted the uncertainty around his prospects. The Steelers, who have been through their own quarterback struggles with Kenny Pickett, ultimately decided to address other needs on their roster. This move was seen by many as an indication that teams are becoming more conservative when it comes to selecting quarterbacks who may not have the elite traits traditionally valued at the position. The Steelers' reluctance to draft Sanders despite his potential was emblematic of a broader trend in the NFL. Teams are increasingly unwilling to gamble on quarterbacks who do not exhibit the full package of skills, even if they have shown flashes of brilliance in college. Ryan Clark, a former player and analyst, added another layer to the discussion by pointing out the role that celebrity plays in the evaluation process. Sanders, the son of famous coach Deion Sanders, naturally garnered more attention than other prospects, but this also led to a level of scrutiny that may have impacted his draft stock. Clark highlighted how certain teams were hesitant to make decisions that could potentially be viewed through the lens of nepotism. At the same time, the evaluation of Sanders as a player was not purely based on his name or fame. It was about whether he had the raw talent and physical attributes that NFL teams crave in a top-tier quarterback. While it's easy to look at Sanders' situation as a disappointment, the reality is that the draft process is as much about timing and fit as it is about raw talent. For Sanders, the journey is far from over. While not being selected in the first round stings, he still has a chance to prove himself at the next level. Whether he can live up to the high expectations placed on him, or whether he will use his setback as fuel for his future success, remains to be seen. The 2025 draft class may have passed him by, but in the world of the NFL, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. As for the rest of the draft, it underscored the unpredictable nature of talent evaluation. Teams like the Giants and Jaguars made calculated decisions that paid off, while others, like the Steelers, were more conservative in their approach. For Sanders, this chapter of his career may not have started the way he envisioned, but in the ever-changing landscape of the NFL, there's always room for redemption and reinvention.